Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lord Caliph Shaquel. Welcome to the Time Debates.
Imagine a world where technology would help us to learn from our forefathers and foremothers. What would we do with it? Picture, if you will, a time center that allows us to draw upon our ancestors' wisdom in order to enhance our understanding of some of the decisions that they made. With this time vortex, a spiraling gateway that opens up a corridor to the past in order to bring to your watching eyes the Time Debates.
Good day, family, and welcome to the Time Debates. This is our first season's final episode. This week's debate will be between two of this planet's world shakers. And when I say world shakers, I mean two motherfucking world shakers. One is often listed as arguably history's greatest tyrant. He's the former Chancellor of Germany and architect of the Third Reich, Der Führer Adolf Hitler. His opponent is recognized as a great general and king, revered by his people and feared by his enemies. Family, I present to you Lord Shaka, king and builder of the mighty Zulu nation. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for participating in today's debate. The prospect of this pairing has generated a great deal of interest. So I want to thank you for traveling through the time vortex to share with us. Our debate topics are, is killing an essential tool for nation building? Are all killings alike? With that being said, I would like to offer Mr. Hitler the opportunity to open these debates.
What the hell is this? I have been summoned from the afterlife to be questioned by two niggers? Negroes? What is the time vortex? This truly must be hell!
Mr. Hitler, the time vortex allows us to draw upon the failures and successes of the people from the past. Thus, you have been brought here and given the opportunity to explain your actions while occupying a position of leadership on this planet.
I was unaware that my actions needed explaining. Why would I waste time trying to illuminate the greatest social experiment ever undertaken by our nation? Wir haben probiert, der Masterrace zu bauen. We were building the master race. Isn't that self-explanatory?
Lord Caliph, I could have told you that this social parasite has nothing of substance to offer to these debates. And having him here today is rehashing the ignorant and racist concepts of some of the most destructive people to have ever lived. The Nazi Party. Is it?
The vortex is a great teacher. My question is, why would you put me, Adolf Hitler, with an African heathen who ran his country half naked while waging a murderous campaign?
I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain the culture of my people to you. But to insinuate that the Zulu nation was murderous is highly prejudicial and insulting. The Zulus are the greatest warriors to ever live. And we hearten ourselves by fighting other warriors. Unlike you, who spent over a decade cooking little German children in ovens. The word murderers is not appropriate, while the word human is not synonymous with Hitler. Is she?
You interject lies, cover. I never cooked a child. During my earthly life, ich bin doch der Führer. I am the Führer. Don't confuse me with the butcher, Dr. Mengel. Ich hab da gar nicht mit ihm zu tun gehabt.
Gentlemen, we haven't addressed tonight's topic, and the fireworks have already started. Once again, I ask you, Mr. Hitler, would you like to address the topic of tonight's debate with an opening statement?
Hör mal, Leute, dies ist vor mich. Listen to me. Let me tell you something. This shit is beneath me. But since I have been summoned here, I may as well defend the honor and the dignity of the Third Reich. Your question was, is killing necessary while nation building? Whether you push an innocent child off a cliff or you drop a nasty pig in a blender, you have simply removed a useless entity from this planet. Until a child becomes a certain age, they have no use to a growing civilization. They show worth only when they have been programmed. So, like dropping a swine in a blender, we dropped 6 million Schwein. Dankeschön. Thank you.
Let me say to the crowd, traditionally I try to avoid commenting after a debater speaks their truth. Trust me. I've had the pleasure and displeasure of sitting next to some of the worst tyrants of history on this stage. Of all of the openings that I've heard, yours, sir, is the most insulting, disrespectful, and asinine ever spoken on this platform. I am personally offended because I have friends and loved ones who are Jewish, and if it were not for exposing you as one of the greatest Neanderthals, I would shoot your ass right back through that damn time vortex. Now, let's set the record straight. You killed 6 million European Jews and 5 million Falasha Jews in Africa, bringing your evil, murderous contribution to this planet 11 million killed. That's what you did.
Did you say, send me back to the time vortex? I didn't ask to be here anyway. Do it, nigga. Do it. Or should I use one of your people's colloquialisms? Do it, my nigga. Do it.
King Shaka, I would like to give you the same opportunity to open.
When trying to nation build, killing is essential, but not all killings are alike. The loss of any life is a loss of a spirit released into the great unknown. In the many battles and the wars that I fought, I've released many spirits. Never was I proud to do so. But I inherited a country with warring clans plus selfish kings and warlords. it was my intent to bring all of the people under the umbrella of the Zulu nation. And while doing so, we dispatched many warriors. I say warriors, not women or children. We did not kill animals that we did not intend to eat. To the Zulu nation, all of life is precious. So, the act of murder is punishable by death and not equivalent to killing someone in self-defense or battle. The example used by Mr. Hitler here explains what this caveman thinks of life. What they do not do is explain the reasons why their loving God would create a race of people only to have them suffer extermination at the whim of the Nazis. Kwabonga.
Family, we are going to get into the 3-question debate. With our first question being for Mr. Hitler. Sir, does killing have a moral compass?
Let me explain it to you. Obviously, killing does have a moral compass. Wir sind der Dritte Reich. We chose to eliminate a race of people of low morals. It was our intent to create the perfect human race. One that would lead all heathen races into eine bessere Welt. When listening to you and the Zulu, it is as if you're polishing your ethics while murdering of ours. I didn't hear you give a number of how many he murdered. While building the nation. No, his explanation of killing was like receiving a Hallmark card. Niemand hat mir doch eine Karte gekriegt. Nobody gave me a card. Ich hatte überhaupt gar keine Geschenke gekriegt. Gar nichts. I got nothing. The baboon butchered up and down South Africa. He was unable to do anything with the great riches of that country. It wasn't until colonizers entered South Africa that the world was able to draw from the riches and civilize the dominion.
Brother Shaka, would you like to respond?
I am wondering whether the trip to the vortex has given us a physical reality as well as a spiritual and mental one. Because I absolutely despise cowards. And be assured, the only thing that I want to do right now is reach across this desk and choke slam this Nazi punk to the pavement. I say that because I choose with my moral compass to stay off his diminutive ass and allow the debate to continue. Yeah. Now, killing does have a moral compass. You know this because you can see the faces of those you have vanquished in your dreams. After my own death, our land was inevitably conquered by the English and the Dutch, and the same type of men that vanquished those 11 million Jews spent 300 years victimizing, murdering, and eliminating my brothers and sisters in South Africa. You see, the Nazi party is not the only party to use the politics of racial hatred. Mr. Hitler is a pint-sized racist with the Napoleon complex. The British set around the world toppling governments, killing off the leadership, and building the British Empire on the backs of the native Africans. My people, Asians, Indians, Australia, and even the Americas. Not once did they exercise a moral compass when doing so. Mr. Hitler was a short-lived chump who didn't use the England playbook very well or for very long. In one go.
Did that cover call me pint-sized?
The hell I did. Yes, I called you pint-sized and most many other things. In one go.
You are an ignorant jungle bunny who didn't have the mental capacity to build up the America.
Listen to me, you knuckle dragger. Doing something and wanting to do something is very different. Our people lived in harmony and with the land, while the white man systematically destroyed every natural habitat they came into.
Gentlemen, let's return to the debate. Our second question is, why did it come so easy to take all those lives, Adolf?
There are people on this planet who are human cockroaches, passing disease between man and beast, never contributing outside of their own cultural clique. It is easy to kill a type of creature, whether it be insect, animal, or man. You contributed 11 million deaths to my record. I'm disappointed in that my goal was 100 million and 100 million. Thank you. Dankeschön.
Every time, I think it's impossible for you to sink any lower. You find a way to do so. King Shaquel, will you please respond?
If I must. When a warrior is engaged in combat, it is not easy to take life. It is essential. Kill or be killed. But even when vanquishing an adversary, a warrior has respect for the life that he has taken. The comparison of human life to that of a cockroach is mind-boggling. I'm not sure if Mr. Hitler is a human. And in a spiritual sense, his Nazi party was the rise of the living dead back in the 1930s. Brother Caliph, killing is not easy. But it is a prerequisite to freedom, whether we like it or not. Gwambonga.
My final question. I ask you to give me someone else in history with your calling that has not been judged as you have, Mr. Hitler.
Well, Mr. Host, that is probably the only fair question that you have asked me today. The answer is simple. The great Bishop Martin Luther, whom you guys call the Great Reformer. I wasn't the first person in Germany to call for the extinction of the Jews. Your great reformer, Martin Luther, called for the mass deliverance of the Jewish nation. After publishing a pamphlet, Martin Luther and the Jews away with them. After he was commissioned to translate the New Testament from the Latin to German, Martin Luther published a book, ein Buch, im 1543. Der Jugend und ihre Lugenheit. The Jews and their lies. So if you're asking me what men or men in history who was as damnable as their Führer while avoiding eternal damnation, in the eyes of the Christian world, it would be my brother in faith, the great Bishop Martin Luther. Don't look at me, Adolf Hitler, the Führer, as the worst scum that ever lived. The sentiment towards extermination of the Jews goes back long before ich geboren bin. Way before I was born, before the Reich.
Brother Shaka.
My people, I do not come to you today as Mr. Hitler does, a broken, pathetic man. I fought for the liberation of my people. Therefore, I liken myself to the Pharaoh Amos, the first of the 19th dynasty in ancient Kemet, Egypt. The Hyksos, known as the Shepherd Kings, invaded the African Nile and forced that great society into slavery. It took 110 years before the rise of King Amos I to lead our brothers and sisters out of their bondage. I often listen to some of our white intellectual brothers try to explain how the white man brought civilization to Africa. Civilization is the art of being civil. Civilization is not an army being disrespectful and brutal. Somehow, our European brothers have not written civilization on their hearts. And because of that emotional blind spot, they confuse industrial advancements with the art of being civil. I don't know how. Abuena.
Family, we've come to the end of this debate. One that I am sure our audience will talk about for some time. As with all our debates, I give the opponents 1 minute to close. Although it is against my better judgment, I extend that offer to you, Mr. Hitler.
And look, Kaffer, I don't need a minute to explain what my life's work was about. The white race, der weiße Leute, is the dominant race of the planet. Wie es war, als ich gewohnt habe. Like it was when I lived. Just look at your United Nations. Which countries control the Security Council? Which nations have nuclear bombs by the truckload? You know, the weiße ones, the white ones. Russian, England, Germany, der Mutterland Germany. Every time a nation of color tries to get one of these bombs, the entire world calls them terrorists. Adolf Hitler is not the problem. Ich bin doch nicht der Problem. I came from a small group of white men who killed the gorillas in the midst. Sie sind doch ein Gorilla. Du sei ein Gorilla. There was a great man named Cecil Rhodes, founder of De Beers Diamonds, which left $100 million in the control of the board of the colonizers. Just like me. He did so for the subjugation of all the Mongol races in my time on this planet. I didn't want the Jewish mongrels to benefit of their light complexion and manipulate the world by assimilating into our club. I refuse to let them climb out of the Mongol pit. So I squashed them. Thank you.
Brother Shaka.
Brothers and sisters, Mr. Hitler is a sociopath who spent the last 4 months of his life hiding in a bunker like a coward that he is. He was running from the soldiers charged to catching him. Those same Jews that he hated so badly have risen up and become a sovereign, independent nation. I don't want that slime that oozes of him to blind the youth of today about the history of the Europeans and their interaction with other nations. They were the masters of divide and conquer, playing upon the fears of some and the greed of others. This debate started with the talk on killing and murder. I want to say this. If I could have built the Zulu nation without drawing the blood of one of my African brothers, I would have gladly done so. After listening to Mr. Hitler speak today, my only regret is that his neck was not in the range of my blade, because he doesn't have a kind bone and his body. And he is the only person in my life that I am sure that I would have murdered instead of killing. Kwebonga. Eshe.
Family, once again, thank you for tuning in to the Time Debates. Today's debate touched upon the greatest of the 7 deadly sins: killing and murder. It has always been my belief that 9 out of 10 people want to go through life in peace and harmony with their fellow brothers. However, I also believe that 1 out of 10 people range from being extremely difficult humans to being flat out monsters. Throughout history, mankind has had to deal with men like Adolf Hitler. And trust me, he is one of the very worst, but he is not alone. I do not condemn soldiers for killing in war. I do not condemn humans in defense of themselves and their families. Killing and murder are different. It takes someone amoral, like Mr. Hitler, to not understand that. As I stated at the very beginning of this debate, I have family, friends, and loved ones who are Jewish, Christian, Muslim, atheist, and agnostic. And it is my great wish to live in a spiritual society, loving and fighting for one another. So let us learn from the return of King Shaka and Adolf Hitler that we can never again allow the ravings of one man to blind us to the fact that we are all brothers under the same sun. Thank you. I am Lord Caliph Shaquel. We'll be back next season with more Time Debates. And always remember, we are Chocolate Rain. And we do what we want.
Did that cover call me pint size?
I did, sir. You are, yes, I called you pint-sized coward and a few other things. Go.
Stop. Why did I tell you? You are
Telling you all this shit and you focusing on pints.
Exactly. What did he say he called me? That short complex. That motherfucker called me pint size. All right, pick it up from there. That's so great, though. The way y'all did it is wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm sorry. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? These are trailer moments.
Hey, motherfucker, you talking about kick your ass, boy.
Let's go.
Let's pick it up there. That's a good exchange here.
sorry.
That's all right. That's funny. That's great. Did that camera call me pint size?
These insults.
Did that cover call me pint size?
The hell I did. Yes, I called you pint-sized and most many other things. Go.
Hey,
Get it out.
Hey man, Shaka is here, bro.
Yeah, Jason is so on top of it. It's just ridiculous. Let's get it. Let's get it. It's just so great.
It's funny. It's
I
very
trouble
good.
with
Very
that.
good.
Breathe.